Tennessee Congressman, Chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee, Mark Green, joins me. Good evening, sir. And as we talk to people around the country here, voting, immigration, and the border is obviously a very serious issue. Now we know, and we've always heard about people on the terror watch list getting into this country. How do you get on the terror watch list? What do you have to do to get on that list?
You have to be associated or in an organization or associated with an organization that's known as a terrorist organization. You can make certain statements and be tracked by local governments, for example, other countries, and they can report you onto the terrorist watch list or to the United States, and we add that person to the terrorist watch list. So it's known associations, basically, that get you on the list.
Okay, so the key word is known. So if I'm a member of the group, but I'm just not known, I'm not on the list. But I could be sympathetic to the group.
That's right. That's exactly correct.
All right. So when someone comes across the border, do the people who in the United States, whether it's ICE or Border Patrol, when they confront these people, do they have the electronic list? I mean, and then I would assume that would take someone telling his or her name, right?
That's right, Greta. We have a list that is used. It's bounced against a database, that individual's name, when they have that individual's name. And then actually, Secretary Mayorkas told us in testimony when he came for the National Threats Brief, he refused to answer if he had given orders for all of those people, even if they're on the terrorist watch list, to be detained. So we have no idea. I mean, we know known terrorists have been released into the country. We had the al-Shabaab guy that was in the country for over a year, the one you just mentioned from Colombia, and the list goes on and on.
Well, so if let's say that someone wants to come into the country as a terrorist, could use my name, and my name's not on the list, that person would gain admission, right? I mean, because you don't have to prove your identity.
Exactly. There's no proof of identity required to get into the United States anymore. In this open border, you just show up, give them a name, they take that name, and then they let you fly on an airplane. Yet an American has got to prove with real ID that they are who they say they are to get on an airplane and fly in this country. But from the border, you can claim whoever you are, and TSA is letting them in because DHS Secretary Mayorkas said that's what they're to do.
So it's almost a little silly when I report, like, one person came in who's on the terror watch list today because, A, we don't, I mean, the terror list could have, there could be 6 other people who got in who are on the terror list who aren't, quote, known, or the 6 more people could have false names who are on the terror list. I mean, so is this terror list really of any great value to us? I mean, does it really tell us anything?
Well, it certainly informs the FBI task forces. Those guys actually track down these individuals once they get in the United States. Director Wray talked about that, too, in the threat briefing that they gave. And his task forces are capturing some of these people. Fortunately, they got that al-Shabaab terrorist and got him out of the country. So, yeah, I mean, having the list is important because local law enforcement can actually tap into that database through fusion centers. So, yes, it's important to have and maintain that list. We just wish DHS, the secretary would allow them to use it. Yeah.
I don't want to be an alarmist, but I mean, like, we know if we see the Russian military come over our border, we can see them. But if you get a terrorist come in whose name we don't know and the person's carrying a deadly virus, and then shows up in Times Square, I mean, we have no control over that, and I don't think there's ever a possibility of control over that.
Well, you think of the known gotaways. I mean, just the 1.8 million known gotaways, and that number's a lot less than what it really is because Border Patrol can no longer be out on the border and see known gotaways, right? The number was going up at a much higher rate, but because they've been concentrated at the point crossing centers processing the migrants and not out on the border, the known gotaways number is not increasing at the rate that it would be expected to. So that means all the unknown numbers, the unknown gotaways, is significantly higher. And we can't, there's no way to know who either of those two groups are. It could be a Hamas cell, it could be Chinese spies, it could be Russian spies. I mean, there's no way to know. Our border is wide open, and every American is at risk because of the actions of this president and this secretary.
I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer, I'm going to take the last word out, but it does seem like it's too late when the border has been so wide open for so long that I don't know if we can ever, and the way it's so easy to slip into this country with so many names and everything else. But anyway, I'm taking the last word of that. Chairman Mark Green, thank you, sir.
Thanks, Greta.